enjoying the music, and I want you to know I appreciate that. You have ministered to me more by this than anything you could have done ever. So I thank you for that. You can imagine what it's like to stand up here and hear your dots and dashes like this. But composition is a bit like a diary or a journal, I should say, in that once you kind of adopt it as your lifestyle, you begin to look for meanings in lots of things to try to create another song. I liken it to the guy who built the frame around the Mona Lisa. In the case of my work, it's either going to be the glory of love or freedom and patriotism and things that I feel deeply about, or of course my own faith. And making a choral composition is like trying to build a frame around the truth of whatever it is you're writing. It could be a personal truth, it could be a greater sacred truth, and you want to frame it in such a way, in kind of capital masterpiece, capital M, so that people will stop and linger and not see the frame, but consider the masterpiece, consider the words of the song. And so in building the frame, you spend a lot of time with the masterwork. The framer has to look at the colors of the cloth that's in the painting, the flesh tones, and the wood is chosen thoughtfully and carefully so that not to compete with the message, but rather to cradle it and hold it out for people, and it's an invitation. So you learn a lot because everything's in slow motion. And you spend and you look at the central truth of what you're trying to say a lot, and it reveals sometimes spending time with something just is necessary for the fermentation process to take place in your heart. So Catholic Feast was one of those challenges because it was going to be an interfaith gathering, a community gathering of reconciliation because of the faith. And I had to write it in such a way that I could create a metaphor that would be embraced by people of all faiths, or no faith, something that would bring them together. And so I can tell you a story about how I got the idea. Because I was struggling with it, because it's so easy for me just to turn to my own personal journey, open up a Bible, or open up the great hymnody that I'm familiar with when I'm looking for things like this, and find what I'm looking for. But this, I couldn't do that in this case. I was in a hotel, and it was not in a good place, it was kind of an industrial area, lots of equipment and rusted out buildings and things like that and around it, and it was kind of a gnarly little hotel, to be honest with you. And they put me in here, and I opened up the window, and kind of did that. It was just a pitiful sight. And so I made note of that in my mind, how really unattractive that scene was outside my window. And I went to bed, because I had a weekend, proposed weekend like I've done at your church, you know. And trying not to be too judgmental about things, but I had to note there's some dirt over it, you know. And in the night, it snowed. And I opened up the window, and it was beautiful. All of those humps of ugly, rusted out things were just like covered in icicles and made beautiful moguls, and you know, those billows, and it was beautiful. The trees just looked like, you know, silver and glistening. And it gave me the metaphor that when grace comes into your life, when forgiveness and all of the things that we need to embrace many times and we don't do it, it covers all the scars and makes them, redeems them. It makes them beautiful. And only that can make them beautiful. I don't know if you saw it this morning, but that story of the gentleman who had been tortured in World War II, his new book is out, it's coming out, it's a bestseller, who said that the most transformative moment of his life was not getting the multiple Purple Hearts or the Medal of Honor from the president. It was when he went and sought out his Japanese captors who had tortured him and looked them in the eyes and say, I forgive you. Grace falling like snow, covering up all of those scar tissues. He says, I was immediately set free from all of my anger. And wow, that's great. What a message for Sunday morning. And so the image that I received was that no matter what the situation, this situation was, a community torn apart by strife, that when forgiveness falls, when grace falls, it makes everything beautiful. And so I wrote the song with that poetry in mind. So you'll now have as Paul Harvey said, the rest of the story.